Hello, hello. How's it going, guys? I do hope that everyone is well. Today, I am feeling excellent. Today's singing lessons, guys, I have something very exciting and new to share with you guys. I hope that you're ready to receive all of these things that I'm about to tell you or share with you. I hope that all of you guys are having a happy Monday. I'm feeling great. I hope that you are as well. But today's singing lesson, it's going to be a bit historical today. That's what I want to do today. Give you a little more insight, with today's featured artist. But what I want you to know is I have a question for you. And maybe you're able to answer. I'm not sure, but we're going to see. Today's singing lesson, the question to you would be, who is musical icon born in Barnwell, South Carolina? Once again, who is musical icon born in Barnwell, South Carolina? Well, I'm going to give you some time to just think about it. I lied, y'all. Listen, I'm not going to give you any time. Maybe you're going to be familiar with this song. It's a very, very, very popular song. And I'm quite sure that you know this tune. Now, we're going to play a little game. Name that tune. All right? This is a man's world. This is a man's world. But it wouldn't be nothing, nothing. Oh, without a woman or girl. Now, with that being said or that being sung, I'm pretty sure that you have some leads now, right? Am I right? Musical icon born in Barnwell, South Carolina. Yes, it is musical legend James Brown, the godfather of soul. That man was incredible. You understand me? I love me some James Brown. Now, you don't work, you don't need that. You don't work, yeah. You don't need that. So you gotta have my power. Brother, brother, lay it on me. Da, 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 da. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, but the Godfather of Soul, that's what I'm going to be talking to you guys about today. Okay? Mr. Brown had a very fascinating history, background. He was an outstanding songwriter as well as a showman and as well as a singer and a leader. The guy was phenomenal. The guy was amazing. Absolutely. Rest in peace, Mr. James. There will never be another. Along with several other greats. There's so many people or so many of us in the world that are great, but this guy in particular, he earned his position, and those shoes, Mr. James Brown, I mean, I'm not talking or speaking negatively on anyone's life, but my personal opinion, that is a humongous shoe to fill. Mr. James Brown, come on. Hot pants, come on now. You know what I mean? Good foot, come on now. Yeah, you know what I mean? And you have several others, such as Michael Jackson. He was inspired very much by Mr. Brown. So Mr. Miyagi, you know what I mean? That's pretty much who we dealing with right now. That's pretty much who we talking about or who we're talking about right now. Mr. Miyagi, the godfather of soul. Ha! He said, give me them hits. I need them hits. Yeah, but I'm going to get right into it. Guys, Mr. James Brown, he was a dancer, an activist, a singer, songwriter, musician, and he was born in Barnwell, South Carolina in 1933. And unfortunately, guys, he departed here in 2006. You know, Mr. James Brown, the godfather of soul, was a prolific singer, songwriter, and band leader, as well as one of the most iconic figures in funk and soul music, as we all know. Born in Barnwell, South Carolina on May 3rd, 1933. So he's a May baby such as myself. 1933 into extreme poverty. James Brown worked his way to the top of the funk and R&B music, earning the moniker the Godfather of Soul. His unique vocal and musical style influenced many artists. Brown was also known for his turbulent personal life. Unfortunately, we all have, our ups and downs. You know what I mean? Uh, as well as his social activism, both in songwriting, America is my home, black and proud. I'm black and I'm proud. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. That was a cool song right there too. I like that song too. And advocating the benefits of education to school children. So many of you guys probably didn't know that. I didn't know that myself, you know what I mean, until just recently when I did a little research on Mr. Brown. You know, he was dedicated, he was active in the community as well, you know, and we need more people like that. If there's something that you can do to enhance your neighborhood or to educate the youth, or to even be a mentor to the youth, something like a big brother or a big sister, I advise you to do that because they are our future and they need guidance, and sometimes there isn't anyone in the home to give them that assistance or that guidance that they need. And, you can kind of set the example. You can set that example for them, you know, setting that role, as a role model, and they need that. And, sometimes, children can be misled, but if you catch them while they're young, and, you fill their minds with, positivity, and, you give them the courage and you give them the wisdom and knowledge that they need as children, you plant that seed, it'll flourish in a way that you could never imagine, guys. So I think that it's good that you reach out to the youth, or anyone for that matter, if they aren't too far gone. You know what I mean? You can always set that positive example, and that's something that I truly believe in because our youth are our future and they definitely need guidance. They need guidance, guys, and give them that guidance, in creating a better future for them. They are our future, creating a better future for us as well, Okay, going back into it, guys. The Godfather soul James Brown was born James Joe Brown Jr. on May 3rd, 1933, in a one-room shack in the woods of Barnwell, South Carolina. I used to hear those stories about my father often, about a shotgun house and all of that. Coming up in Georgia, being raised in Georgia, so I'm pretty sure that my father could relate. And my grandmother having 12 children. So I mean things were definitely different back then. And we have it good compared to the struggles that they had to overcome, coming up. So I'm very much grateful, and the kids of today, the newer generation, they should be just as grateful because, time changes and there's enhancements being made economically every day. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And it's something to be fortunate, it's something to be grateful for. a few miles east of the Georgia border. His parents split when he was very young, and at the age of 4, Brown was sent to Augusta, Georgia, to live with his Aunt Honey, the madam of a brothel. Growing up in abject poverty during the Great Depression, the young Brown worked whatever odd jobs he could find. Like most artists back in those times, I was reading an article about Fats Domino, and he did the same exact thing, working odd jobs. Any odd jobs that he could find for literally pennies. He danced for the soldiers at nearby Fort Gordon. I've been there. Picked cotton, washed cars, and shined shoes. So he was getting his hustle on, as a shorty. Brown later recalled his impoverished childhood. I started shining shoes at 3 cents, then went up to 5 cents, then 6 cents. I never did get up to a dime. I was 9 years old before I got a pair of underwear from a real store. All my clothes were made from sacks and things like that. But I knew I had to make it. I had the determination to go on, and my determination was to be somebody. Mr. Brown's musical beginnings, he was dismissed from school at the age of 12 for insufficient clothing. Now imagine that. You're being dismissed from school for insufficient clothing. Imagine that, guys. What would that do to what would that do to the self-esteem of a adolescent or a 12-year-old kid? You know, what would that do to the self-esteem of an individual that had insufficient clothing and he was dismissed from school? He was only there to get an education, but he was working with what he had. But what would that do? You're going there to learn, but your family is a little less fortunate than others, and you were dismissed from school, not being able to receive education in the way or the desired manner that you choose to, or that goal that your parents have set for you to educate you. And I'm sure back in those times that they walked miles to school too, back in 1933, and only to turn around or be turned around, so and they only went certain days of the week, so that's rough right there. So Mr. Brown, he was dismissed from school at 12 years old for insufficient clothing. Brown turned to working his various job or odd jobs full time as an escape from the harsh reality of growing up black in the rural South during the Great Depression. Brown turned to religion and to music. He sang in the church choir, as most of us do, where he developed this powerful and uniquely emotive voice. However, as a teenager, Brown also turned to crime. At the age of 16, he was arrested for stealing a car and sentenced to 3 years in prison. While incarcerated, Brown organized and led a prison gospel choir. It was in jail that Brown met Bobby Bird, an aspiring R&B singer and pianist, forming a friendship and musical partnership that proved one of the most fruitful in music history. See, you see how something so bitter can just turn out so sweet. It don't always happen that way, guys. You know what I mean? You know, I'm not gonna get into religion or anything like that, but certain things happen with a purpose. You know what I mean? If that had never taken place, Mr. Brown probably still would have been working that odd-end job, making a little or nothing. You know, if that hadn't happened, he found opportunity in the midst of his trials and tribulation. He found opportunity, or opportunity found him. Life has its way of working itself out for you. For many, for those that are truly seeking a way out of poverty or dead end job. Things happen in that way. You know, You just can't stop there though. You got to continue. You got to keep on, keep on, and later on, you bear the fruits of your labor, So never feel discouraged no matter what's going on in your life. You know, hey, things happen. Things happen. But it's either you build from it, or you just keep the slab. A foundation is nothing until you put something on it. And the last thing that you would want to do is build a foundation, on sand. There's no stability there. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that. You need some stability. You need something that's gonna hold it up. You know what I mean? So, you can just work with a concrete slab. A concrete slab is just a concrete slab until you put a block on it. So, you gotta build, you know what I mean, and get your mortar mix or whatever it is you may have. And, hey, start doing your thing. Start building, you know what I mean? Use that foundation, a stable foundation though, and work your way up. Always a gifted athlete, upon his release from prison in 1953, Brown turned his attention to sports and devoted the next 2 years primarily to boxing and playing semi-professional baseball. Then in 1955, Bobby Bird invited Brown to join his R&B vocal group, the Gospel Starlighters. Check them out, guys, the Gospel Starlighters. Brown accepted, and with his overbearing talent and showmanship, as I said earlier, he quickly came to dominate the group. Renamed the Famous Flames, they moved to Macon, Georgia. I've passed through there quite a few times, where they perform it's a nice place. I think Georgia is beautiful overall though. Macon, Georgia, where they performed at local nightclubs. In 1956, the Famous Flames recorded a demo tape of the song Please, 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 and played it for Ralph Bass, a talent scout for King Records. Bass was, thor- Bass was thoroughly impressed by the song, and especially by Brown's passionate and soulful crooning. He offered the group a record contract, and within months, Please, Please, Please had reached number 6 on the R&B charts. That's amazing. The Flames immediately hit the road, touring the Southeast while opening for such legendary musicians as B.B. King, another great, and Ray Charles, another great, but the band didn't have a repeat hit to match the success of Please, Please, Please. Back to the drawing board, go back in that studio. And by the end of 1957, the Flames had returned home. Needing a creative spark and in danger of losing his record deal, in 1958, Brown moved to New York, where working with different musicians whom he also called the Flames, he recorded Try Me. Try me, try me, darling, tell me I need you. Oh, I need you. You know what I mean? I like that. Hold me, hold me. Yeah, I like that one too, guys. The song reached #1 on the R&B chart, cracked the Hot 100 singles, the Hot 100 singles chart, and kick-started Brown's music career. He soon followed with a string of hits that included Lost Somewhere, Night Train, Lost Somewhere, Night Train, and what was the other one? Okay, and Prisoner of Love. I'm sure we all been there, guys, huh? Yeah. You just afraid to admit it. Moving forward. Night Train and Prisoner of Love. His first song to crack the top 10 on the pop charts, peaking at #2. So we came back in 58 and hit him with another one, guys. You know what I mean? He was trembling. He had to do something. He didn't want to lose that deal. He said, hey, we got to get cooking, Jack. You know what I mean? So he moved forward with things and, hey, got right back into it and came out on top again. Not the very top, but he was under the top, just slightly at #2. In addition to writing and recording music, Brown toured relentlessly. He performed 5 or 6 nights a week. Now that's that work right there. You know, I love to put in that kind of work. Performed 5 or 6 nights a week throughout the 1950s and 60s, a schedule that earned him the title, the hardest working man in show business, as we're pretty much all familiar with. Brown was a flashy showman, incredible dancer, and soulful singer, and his concerts were hypnotizing displays of exuberance and passion that left audiences in raptures. His saxophonist, Pee Wee Ellis, once said, when you heard James Brown was coming to town, you stopped what you were doing and started saving your money. Brown fastidiously mastered and performed whatever dances were popular at the time. The camel walk, the mashed potato, the popcorn, and often improvised his own after announcing that he was about to do the James Brown. A shrewd and ruthless band leader and businessman, Brown scheduled his tours to hit money town on the weekend and demanded perfection from his backup singers and musicians. That's right. Stay on them, James. Stay on them. As a team, you want to be the best. You know what I mean? Okay. He infamously fined musicians for missing notes. And see, that'll make them do better though. Every time you miss a note, same thing with singers, same thing with us. You miss a note, okay. Every time you miss a note, that's $1,000. You get it right, won't you? He infamously fined musicians for missing notes, and during performances, he called out musicians to improvise on the spot. As one of Brown's musicians said with considerable understatement, you had to think quick to keep up. Got to think wrong, think wrong. On a single night, October 24th, 1962, Brown recorded a live concert album at the Apollo Theater in Harlem. The Apollo Theater, Sandman, Kiki Shepard, you know, initially opposed by King Records because it featured no new songs. Live at the Apollo proved Brown's greatest commercial success yet, peaking at #2 on the pop chart, on the pop albums chart, and firmly establishing his crossover appeal. Brown went on to record many of his most popular and enduring singles during the mid-1960s, including I Got You, I Feel Good, I Feel Good, knew that I would, so good, so good, I got you. You know what I mean? That's that gas right there. I feel good. I knew that I would. I feel good. I know that I would. So good. So right. I love you. Yeah, the man was bad. And then Papa's got a brand new band. Papa's got a brand new band. Boom, 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 yeah, that's that gas. And it's a man's world, as I sung earlier as an intro. With its unique rhythmic quality achieved by reducing each instrument to an essentially percussive role, Papa's Got a Brand New Band. Papa's Got a Brand New Bag is considered the first song of the new genre funk, an offshoot of soul and the precursor of hip hop. Ain't that something? You know, so, and like I said, Mr. Brown was an activist as well, you know, and I mean, this guy was amazing. And I felt that it was necessary that, you know, because that's usually what I do. You know, I usually do a feature artist. I said that I was going to bring you content, you know, about my father as well. My father was a singer. He was a fantastic singer, a phenomenal singer as well. And, you know, I just don't feel that it's time, you know, time to really do it right now. You know, I think that I'll do it later on. You know, I wanted to do it, you know what I mean? But I think that it'll be good if I just do it later on. But like I said, Mr. Brown was amazing, you know, as a singer, as a businessman, as a showman, you know. I mean, and the man was tough. The man was tough. You know, I don't know him personally, and I'm sure that you know that. But this is the thing. For someone of that caliber to have ever come about in music, Mr. Brown was one of Mr. Brown was a gift to music. You know what I mean? His music was impactful. You know, it was impactful, and he can actually sing. He can dance. You know, hearing a James Brown record right now make me want to dance, and I don't dance. You know, that ain't something that I'm into, me personally. But I can do it. I grew up doing, you know, family reunions or whatever. But that's not really my thing. But I can do it. But it makes me tap my feet and make me want to dance a little bit, make me want to shout. You know, and I think that Mr. Brown, you know, rest in peace, Mr. Brown. But Mr. Brown was an amazing artist. And there's several amazing artists out there. And I think that it was very valuable for me to share this information with you because as we're on this journey becoming greater singers, I want you to have, I want you to take an approach like no other. And it's important that you research. This is how I feel. And this is how I feel about you. You'll never know where you're going unless you know. My father used to tell me this all the time. You'll never know where you're going to go if you don't know where you're from or where you came from or where you're from. You know, you'll be lost. You won't really have any direction. If you don't know who you are, you can't move forward if you don't know where you came from. So this is the same thing with music. Mr. Brown played a very important role in not only our lives, you know, as individuals, but or as the individuals or people that he shared with while he was here, but he's still sharing every day music. His music still lives. You know what I mean? And it's important for you or for me to provide you with this information so you can expand your thoughts or your creativity. You know what I mean? You can expand your thoughts as a singer, as a musician, mainly singers, because that's what I do. I teach singers. That's what I'm determined to do. And I want us to be great together. As I always say, you know the saying, we will do great things together. And I want us to do great things together. I'm passionate about what I do. And I feel that, like I said, it's important that I share this information with you so you can do research on different people. So you can somewhat, you know, it's a chemistry. It's kind of like you in the lab, you know, you're a mad music scientist. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like how I am. You know, I could go all the way back to the Money Jungle album, you know, Duke Ellington, Money Jungle. You know, I could go all the way back. You know what I mean? Classical music, whatever. I can go all the way back. And each and every artist that I listen to plays a very important role in my life. Musically. They do. A lot of them I'm inspired by. Lots of them I am inspired by. And for me to hear a sound, I'm going to tell you guys, sound drives me crazy. It makes me a wild man. And I shared a video earlier today, a few hours ago, or about an hour or so ago, of Mr. Brown in Paris. I believe that was 1956. Yes, it was 1956. He was in Paris. I shared it onto my Facebook page. And there was another video also that I shared of Mr. Brown, in his older, as he was more mature in his older, his older days or his later days. And I was amazed by the sound. It wasn't a CD or anything that he popped in. There were actually people that had talent, and the orchestra drives me crazy. Any live music, if it's live, I could feel it more. An instrumental is okay, but there's nothing, and I mean nothing, guys, to me, like live music. And to hear that orchestra is so beautiful. It almost, just the sound of the orchestra brings tears to my eyes almost, because it sounds so beautiful. I can't really express it, the way that I truly desire to. But music is a beautiful thing, guys. And I want you to embrace these lessons that I'm giving you. I want you to embrace these topics and these discussions that I have with you from time to time, because I care. And I know that you care because you're here with me and you wish to learn. And I want you to learn. And I want to learn along the way as well. You know, I'm not going to even claim to be the master teacher of singing or anything like that. I'm not going to say I'm a master teacher of singing, because I'm not. I'm not. I think that I'm an amazing singer. Yeah. But one thing about music, you'll never master the art of music. You'll never master it, no matter how many degrees you get or how many degrees you have or any of that. You'll never master the art of music, because there's something new being created all the time. And those things that you are currently learning, it's a thing of the past. Every second, every minute, every hour, there's something being newly designed or created. Although there's 12 notes, as Mr. Quincy Jones said, we all use them differently. So those notes that I might be using, you may not be using. They're the same notes, but used differently. So how can I master something? Or how can you, or how can we master something when we all do it differently? We all do it in a uniquely designed way. So how can you master something that you can never get a full grasp of? You know what I mean? You can be good or excelente or excellent in your very own way. True indeed. But everyone does it differently. And I'm just passing on this knowledge to you. I'm passing on these talents to you. I'm giving you this time because I care. And I'm giving you these things as a precious jewel, these things that I have attained over life musically. And I am still learning. There's things that I'm still learning and things that I still truly desire to know or wish to know about music, because there's so many different angles and so many different approaches that you can make and which you can make when it comes to music, guys. And it's a beautiful thing. Take advantage of it. As I always say, music is there for you guys. But Mr. Brown, like I said, this man was amazing. And I respect him not only as an artist, not only as a businessman, not only as an icon, not only as the godfather of soul, but I respect him as a being, you know, as a being, him being who he was, and he will never, as long as I live, as long as many others live, he'll never be forgotten. He'll never be forgotten. Mr. Brown branded the game. That's what he did, and he'll forever be talked about. So in closing, I like to say that I love you guys. Continue to work. Let's continue working together. And I hope that you found these teachings or this discussion, this information that I shared with you. I hope that you found it helpful. Don't let anything stop you from doing what you're doing, guys. Okay, you're doing excellent, you're doing well, you're doing great. You are beautiful, you are intelligent, you are smart. We gonna get it together. You hear me? We are going to get it together. I'm determined. You're determined. We're determined, and together we will do great things together. Okay, so this is going to conclude the Emerald Music Group's singing lessons. Who is musical icon born in Barnwell, South Carolina? And we all know, guys, who? Mr. James Joe Brown. This is a man's world. This is a man's. Until next time, guys. See, I'm excited already. Until next time, guys, I love you. And I look forward to seeing you again, okay, on Wednesday, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 12 o'clock Central. High noon, guys. All right? Until next time, I love you. Peace.